In this video, we're going to cover 3 key steps to create a social post series that predicts the winner of the Stanley Cup. The first step discusses the nature of why we chose social posts as opposed to other modalities. The second step walks through how we created the predictive model and other choices you might implement to get high-quality predictions. And the third step is how to design the post, such that you get a fun and design that is personal to your liking. By the end of the video, you'll have the tools and knowledge to create your own series of social posts that predict the outcome of your favorite sporting event. Data stories come in different shapes and modalities. For this series, the story we'll focus on is a series of social posts that predict who will win the 2025 Stanley Cup Finals. It's aptly entitled, Predicting Who Will Win the Cup. As you can see here, each social post in the series is made up of a few ingredients. For example, the base design used a Canva template to blend custom images to create a texture background. We also have a title and text to engage the audience, along with some branding. Lastly, we have the integration of the predictive values, which are updated after each game in the playoffs. And in this video, we're going to show you how to get from concept to social post. The end goal of this video is for you to be able to create your own series of predictive posts, no matter what the sport. You can publish a data story through social posts, infographics, articles, and videos. So, why did we choose social posts, and why did we choose a series of social posts? The goal of the project was to quickly translate our predictive calculations into a piece of content that we could publish to Instagram. If you publish a single social post, this might be episodically interesting, but doesn't take an audience down the path to the end of the playoffs. Also, we wanted to show the ranking of teams rather than a single team. This broadens the audience and exposure for the social post and increases your chance of engagement. Thus, we had 3 assumptions for the project. First, the social post should track the progress of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Second, the predictive value must reflect a ranking. And third, the predictive model must be a moving model that updates after each game. You could add your own layers around these basic assumptions, such as adding an engaging and fun design, adding human stories to the post, or posing provocative questions for engagement. Standard practice for any data story is to conduct an exploratory data analysis prior to doing any predictive modeling. This helps you understand the shape of the data and any trends or patterns within the data. After you conduct an exploratory data analysis, you progress to building your predictive model. Your end goal should dictate your approach to building a predictive model. For example, if you want to create a single point-in-time predictive model, or you simply want a baseline model, then you might use one approach that uses goals for per game as the basis of the model. This approach calculates the goals for on a per game basis and then creates a win percentage using the goals for per game for each team. The pros of this model are that goals are one of the most important aspects in winning a game, and it's simple to create. The cons are that if you only use regular season statistics, the model is a baseline and not a moving model. It also doesn't factor in other elements of the game that are of heightened importance in playoffs, such as goaltending and physicality. A second approach, which is the one we used, is first calculating the Pythagorean win probability, also known as win expectations, for each team after each game. You then convert the PWP value into a relative win percentage value, which you use to compare the teams. The pros of this model are that it incorporates both offense through goals for and defense through goals against, and you calculate it after each game, so it's a moving model. It's a well-known approach, and once you've used it, you have a template for broader use across different sports. The cons are that similar to the first approach, it doesn't incorporate all factors of the game. So if you're looking for a directional model that is relatively straightforward to implement, then the PWP model is a decent choice. The third and most robust choice of predictive modeling is using Bayesian probability. This approach can use a blend of statistics and features to create an underlying probability, or what's called a prior probability, and then using different weightings or factors, calculates a posterior probability, which you can then use in your predictive modeling. The pros of this approach are more statistical flexibility and the ability to have a dynamic predictive model after each game. The cons are it's more complex and requires some knowledge of probability and pretesting on the statistics and features you'll use in the model. That said, we believe this to be more of a gold standard when it comes to the type of predictive modeling you'd want when predicting playoff hockey. We're now going to get a little technical and walk through the code we created to create the predictive model. There are 3 key steps you'll want to follow to create the series of social posts that predict the Stanley Cup winner. The first is to source, clean, and analyze the data. The second is to build a predictive model, which you can update daily. And the third is to take the PWP predictive ranking and design a social post using Canva. Sourcing data through APIs or web scraping enables you to create a data pipeline. However, this requires some coding knowledge in R. We use the 𝐸𝐵𝑒st library, similar to the beautiful soup package in Python, to retrieve the most recent NHL playoff stats from Hockey Reference, which we'll use to calculate each team's PWP. Hockey Reference updates this table daily, so you can have up-to-date data each day. The code is relatively short and uses a specific page URL and an XPath string to get the contents of the playoff stats table. We recast the playoff statistics list as a data frame and cleaned up the data. Because the table on Hockey Reference doesn't have team abbreviations, we created a mapping data frame and added a season column and a calculated column for PWP. Also, we reordered the columns in a cleaner way and created a smaller data frame called Team Summary, which we'll use in our forecasting. Using this approach, we can calculate the PWP after each game and then re-rank the teams in the cohort based on win percentage. The relative part is a comparative for whomever is left in the cohort. We do this by creating a function called rank Stanley Cup chances that takes a team vector and season as input parameters and returns a win percentage for each team relative to the other teams in the cohort. The result gives you the team via abbreviation, their PWP, and the relative win percentage. And that's it. You can now run this daily, being sure to change the teams that are left in the playoffs, and you'll get a percentage-based ranking of who is predicted to win the Stanley Cup. Now that we're at the beginning of the Stanley Cup Finals, here is where the final 2 teams sit with regard to their respective ranking. The design part of the data story can run along a spectrum. For example, on the one end, you can work with a professional designer to build an amazing design that is specific to your brand and makes your story pop. It's more time and money, but the end design is typically superior than what an automated tool can create. In the middle, you can do it yourself with some starter templates. There are lots of templates out there depending on the tool you use, and the cost is mostly your time and design skills. If you choose to do it yourself, then we have free templates you can use. On the other end of the spectrum are the many AI-enabled tools out there that you can use. Some of these are independent tools, and others are built into broader platforms like Adobe and Canva. We want to make it easy for creators to design posts quickly and efficiently, so we created a Canva template as a free resource for you to use. Using the template is easy. You click the link shown on the screen, and then you can tweak the design to make it your own. This might be background images, logos, or even images of players you want to call out in your social post. When you're done with the social post, you can download the post and use it for your favorite social platform. And there you have it. You now have the tools and knowledge to create your own predictive modeling series for your favorite sport using a simple and quick design approach.